The Church of the Broken God is an anomalous religious organization which worships mechanization and believes that flesh and life to be inherently evil or broken. Though its origins are unknown, broken God-related artifacts have been recovered through archaeological digs dating back to the pre-classical period, and church dogma asserts its existence and predates the appearance of life on Earth. Central to their theology is that their deity has been scattered, dispersed, or otherwise rendered inert. Through the use of technology, often anomalous, church followers seek to bring together the components of the body of God, thereby allowing a divine physical form to utilize and bringing about some techno-organic apotheosis. Several SCP objects have been attributed to this group since its discovery. Personnel may reference items indexed under the Broken God for a restricted list. The current leader of the oldest extant denomination of the Broken Church is an individual identified in records as His Holiness Robert Umaro, builder of the Broken God, who apparently gained this title in 1946. While the sect continues its efforts to reconstruct their deity, the religion as a whole has gone some time in the past century undergone a major schism. Two significant breakaway movements from the original church have entered a major theological conflict. The Codword Orthodox Church espousas a form of literal religion iconography known as standardization, whereby adherents submit to anomalous mechanical enhancement with the stand goal of remaking themselves in the image or plan of their deity. Due to the extent of their mechanical augmentation, members of this sect often emit audible ticking or tapping sounds, and have been referred to disparagingly as tickers by members of the other two sects. Codword Orthodoxy deliberately adheres to technological norms of the late Industrial Revolution and regard the mass production of analog, steam, and clockwork-driven machinery as a form of prayer. Orthodoxy doctrine is highly centralized and regulated by a group of unknown composition, known as the Patriarchs. Its body issues detailed production offers and design documents, which form the core of the group's extremely elusive Holy Rite. Orthodox beliefs decrees that the use of electronic or digital devices and views disturbed information sharing decentralization as tantamount to the dissolution of divine knowledge. Items and reports pertaining to the Codword Orthodoxy are currently being indexed under Codword Orthodoxy. The Church of Maxwellism represents a modernized, computation and network-oriented means of worship. No central organizing church body is known to exist. However, interviews and covert surveillance has determined that all known cells are in regular contact with one another and capable of coordination. Maxwellists often favor small-scale body modification, the use of advanced cybernetics and organ enhancement, while artificial limbs or reinforced skeletons have been observed. Maxwellist implants primarily focus on communication, data storage, and networking capabilities, and sensory enhancement. Maxwellist doctrine interprets the Broken God as a fragmented deity, which exists as disparate data present in the latent technology and cultural zeitgeist of digital age. Worshippers approach the divine by embracing their unique traits and sharing their knowledge and capacity through the good of the collective church. By connecting all minds through computer networks, they believe their deity can be recompiled as the aggregate will of humanity. Due to their use of computer fan noise as a meditative aid, members often referred to as Hummers by members of the other two factions. Items and reports pertaining to the Church of Maxwellism are being indexed under Maxwellism. Given the fragmented nature of the Church, a clear timeline of events involving the Church is difficult to determine. Contradictory information regarding its origins, primary doctrines, important figures, and historical development is collected with every raid on hostile cells. The retroactive recognition of unrelated cults and predecessors to the Church represents a significant problem for the Foundation historians. The following is a brief summary of information regarding the Church's history. With the sources, the Foundation is primarily considered the most reliable. It is to be taken as a guideline when dealing with members of GOI or suspected artifacts. The Foundation agents and researchers must always remember that it represents incomplete knowledge, subject to expansion or amendment with every new discovery. Shia Anomalous Culture Group. Recent archaeological findings of ancient anomalous sites have been established a link between the ancient Shia dynasty a legendary dynasty which ruled China from 2100 to 1600 BCE, of which there is no non-anomalous evidence, and the cult of the Broken God. The Shia culture group practiced a dualistic religion, worshipping entities known as the Father Serpent Futsi, equivalent to the Broken God, and the Mother Dragon Nuwa, equivalent to the Sarkic deity, above all gods. Scholars were said to practice the ways of the serpent, and members of the culture underwent at age 12 transformations into serpentine bodies said to resemble the body of the dragon. These anomalous transformations, along with the anachronistic technology recovered from the archaeological sites, confirm the Shia dynasty is as one of the first anomalous civilizations in the historical record. According to Shia cosmology, Futsi and Nuwa fought after creating the humankind, eventually culminating in the Futsa transforming himself into the Great Brass Cage to imprison Nuwa. While the worship of Futsi took precedence over worship of Nuwa, the Shia culture saw the rebuilding of Futsi as an event to be prevented at all costs, so it would free Nuwa from her cage nearly to the end of the world. The dynasty is said to have started with the Yao Emperor, a legendary figure considered to be the initiator of Chinese civilization, who appeared contemporaneous worshippers of Futsi and Nuwa. Further history, the Shia civilization would enter conflict with other civilizations, such as the aforementioned cults, the Orthothon civilization, the future Shang dynasty, and the Shia culture group was significantly more advanced than any other civilization at the time, having developed structures similar to computing devices and up to and including artificial intelligence, as well as a writing system more developed than the future Shang dynasty and even reality warping devices. They were accomplished blacksmiths, particularly of bronze and beryllium bronze alloy, present in several anomalous objects. The properties of this alloy are currently being researched. Records suggest the Shia culture groups developed methods of interstellar travel. Whether these were constructed, theorized only, or something else entirely has not yet been determined. The Shia dynasty came to an end following a conflict with creatures known as the Golden Crows, which destroyed all physical evidence of their existence outside a few anomalous sites, objects, and organisms. Information on them persisted through legends of the surrounding and succeeding cultures. There are accounts of the continued presence of survivors today in the continued presence of survivors as guardians of forgotten history. The Mechanite Empire. Ample evidence has been collected of the presence of broken god cults in the Mycenaean Greece, a Greek civilization spanning the years 1600 to 1100 BCE. The broken god came to be known as Mechon, and over time a cult grew powerful enough to establish the Mechanite Empire, existing from roughly 1200 BCE to 1000 BCE. The Mechanite Empire was a highly centralized theocratic state, with no distinction between the position of political and religious and military leader. The state maintained control over the production of goods, particularly of metallurgic industry. It is considering it a holy craft. The empire had strong trading relations with Egypt, Assyria, and Canaan. Their aggressive commercial policies, evangelization practices, and naval strength made them one of the most powerful states at the time. They had also gave them an unpopular reputation among the contemporary states. The Mechanite Empire introduced several important concepts to the broken god theology, most importantly the establishment of rebuilding the broken god as the ultimate goal of the church. Written accounts document the change from a primarily deistic religion to the Praetorian apotheosis doctrine as far back as 1154 BCE. Of importance of notice is that of the earliest known document that proposes the doctrine of the broken god called the Broken God Wan. Relations between the Mechanite Empire and contemporary civilizations, primarily the Davites and Sarkics, were often fraught with tension. There were proof of alliances between the Mechanists and the Davites against the Adi Empire has been encountered. Tensions between the Mechanites and the Adi Empire reached an all-time high at the end of the 11th century BCE. Evidence of colossus constructed for this war has been found as far away as the Aralkum Desert. Accounts on the end of the war vary, though it's agreed that while the Mechanites ultimately won the war, it dealt significant damage to their state, leading to the collapse of the empire shortly afterwards. Artifacts from this time period would be salvaged by various anomalous organizations over the years, surfacing as recently as the Seventh Adult War. The city-state of Amoni. The survivors of the Mechanite state experienced a schism after the fall of the Empire. A significant portion traveled to other lands, hoping to find new territory in which to settle. The rest stayed on Amoni, a small settlement mostly undamaged by the war. For both groups, the period immediately after the collapse of the Empire was defined by the need for secrecy. The surrounding states immediately claimed dominion over the Empire's former territory, hoping to find the secrets of the Mechanized technology. Similarly, the former members of the Empire were hunted, considered a valuable source of information. Survivors looking for new places to live hid their origins, often practicing religion secretly or conflating with other deities. It is believed most descendants of these survivors eventually abandoned their faith to facilitate integration with society. Meanwhile, survivors of the new city-state of Amoni hid information on its location and from the rest of the world, living in self-sufficiency while recovering from the effects of the war. It would take them until the 6th century BCE to retain their status as an influential player in regional politics, primarily due to their advanced technology. While their overall military strength fell significantly with the fall of the Empire, engineers from the city-state were highly prized among other civilizations, gaining them several important allies that guaranteed them a continued existence. No longer possessing a numerous army nor control over the sea trade, the city-state of Amoni would instead concentrate on agriculture and the production of unique goods. The city-state remained closed for foreigners, not willing to show any sign of weakness to outsiders, with the majority of contact with other states coming from trade and designated ports, and the true location of the city remained a secret. This state of isolation would remain until the conquest by the Romans of the 1st century BCE. The city-state of Amoni was profoundly influenced by the Pythagorean cults, incorporating their belief of the importance of numerology and harmony. It is believed that the current Gnostic reading of the broken god theology may have its roots in this period. These spiritual influences led a marked increase in the production of literature and art around the 5th century BCE, marking the golden age of the Mechanite literature. Similar advances in automation and design would occur in the 1st century BCE, culminating in the creation of what are believed to be the first examples of artificial intelligence in the European continent. The city-state of Amoni remained neutral in most military conflict at the time, though they were known to have aided the Achaemenid Empire against the Sarkites, as well as having at least supplied military equipment to the Kingdom of Carthage during the time of the Punic Wars. The city-state of Amoni would be destroyed during the 1st century BCE, after a conflict with the Hebrews proved their military strength could no longer be underestimated. While followers of the religion remained, no centralized body would form until the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution. The Church of the Broken God experienced a resurgence during the Industrial Revolution, seeing the proliferation of machinery and mass production as a signal of Mechan's imminent return. The various surviving cells that would unify into what is now known today as Broken Church, looking to spread the word of their God coming in a new era. At the same time, among members of the church, debates started regarding the viability of conversion into mechanical entities, searching for a post-Nibbanic state of being. Conversion had not been a widespread practice since the fall of the Mechanite Empire, and several high-ranking members considered any conversion different from the one given by the then-lost God's Ichor to be a mockery of the broken God. It is believed that the tensions inside the church were exacerbated by the oligarchy of the time, seeing benefits in the new religion but not willing to submit themselves to the church's authority. Ultimately, this led to the first-rate schism of the church's modern history, when several splinter cells defected from the main body to the church to seek enlightenment from new technologies in the 1840s. With the economic support of several important factory owners and the knowledge of the church splinter cells, several experiments on possible paths of augmentation were performed. The splinter cells looked to further evangelize the oligarchy of the time, emphasizing the usefulness of the Mechanite autonomous anomalous technology and spectacle of augmentations as reasons to convert. While few adopted the faith, many would become sponsors of the nascent splinter cells. Looking to benefit from their knowledge, they increased awareness of the anomalous technology threatened to destroy the veil, leading to the first conflict between the nascent foundation and the church. Eventually, the majority of these cells would be unified under the Patriarchs and taught with Orthodox Church, which became the most important segment of the Church of the Broken God by the end of the 19th century. 20th century. The Church of the Broken God started the 20th century in the most stable situation it had been since the destruction of the city-state of Amoni. Discovery of several suspected Broken God artifacts by the Toddward Orthodoxy led many in cults to believe that it was only a matter of time till the Broken God was reassembled. The Broken Church, not willing to let the splinter group be the ones to unite the God, started their own hunt for the artifacts. The most important figure in recent church history is Robert Bumaro, a mysterious individual who was first recorded as the collector of these items suspected to be related to the church. He recruited several enforcers and, through anomalous means, enhanced most of them until they were able to communicate with their God. This was unusual for the Broken Church, as, unlike the Toddward Orthodoxy, they usually discouraged these artificial enhancements. Bumaro and his agents were able to collect close to 100 artifacts presumed importance to the church, before disappearing in 1943. He would reappear in 1946, claiming the title of the leader of the church and builder of God. To this day, Bumaro remains a highly respected figure, not just inside the Broken Church, but among the other known denominations. The final schism occurred in the 1990s through conflicts with the church, the conflicts within the church that started in the 1970s. As technology advanced, many members of the existing churches felt the dogmas were outdated, and that the church had to adapt its message to the times. The inclusion of electronic devices and augmentations was a cause of severe controversy in the Toddward Orthodox Church, culminating in its prohibition by the Patriarchs as heretical development. This addition to the schema resulted in numerous excommunications and defections. Similarly to the situation in the 19th century, numerous splinter cells would emerge, though with significantly less success at attracting funding. Most of them would eventually unify during the second half of the 1990s, following the teachings of a woman named St. Hedwig to establish a church of Maxwellism. With commercial links to major players in the anomalous world, such as the Prometheus Labs, the Church of Maxwellianism would soon establish itself as one of the major denominations of the church. Current status. The Church of the Broken God has an estimated 300,000 members as of today. There's an increase in families of mixed faiths, as well as Maxwellianism looks to evangelize newer generations using popular media and the internet, making them the most important threat to normalcy among the members of the church, despite a relative lack of military power compared to the other two denominations. Current church operations center around the recovery of an island on the coast of Greece. The reasons for this interest are currently unknown.